Hey Miriam, good evening everybody. Hey guys, I'm just gonna wait for some more people to join. Um, I'm really excited for this live because we are. Hey Anthony, how's it going? Um, we are going to be talking to Daniel, who is one of our neighbors down south in Greenville, South Carolina. So I'm going to wait for him to join. How's everybody doing? New here, but glad to listen in. That's fine. Feel free to listen. It's all good. There's Daniel. If you guys have any questions for us, feel free to ask away. So we have tons of stuff that we want to talk about. Hey, everybody. Hey,
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
better now than this morning.
Yeah, I jumped in on that a little bit. Um, I wasn't able to catch the whole thing because I was kind of busy working, but good, good to see everybody out here tonight.
Yeah, yeah. How's your day been?
Oh, it's been all right. I think I told you my story about trying to get a haircut, but that's all good.
Yeah. You just wear a hat to just kind of mask the shagginess.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
whatever works. It's all good.
Yes.
Um, so I'm pretty excited to talk to you today. Simply because I haven't really done a chat or a live with anyone down south or across the border. And I know us Canadians, so far from what I'm seeing, a lot of people that are jumping on are Canadian. And we see typically a lot of the other countries, like, the United States, that has a lot more freedoms than we do right now. um, so it's just kind of good to get some insight on what's going on down there. I know you're in South Carolina. Um,
Yes.
I'm just outside of Toronto, in a small town, and it's a shit show here, as you know. So, um, just let's just jump right into it. Maybe just like, who you are, how you got started in this, and then, just I guess we'll exchange notes as we go, like insights and all that. So, but
Yeah.
just talk about what's going on down there.
Yeah. So, it's not all good news. I will tell you that much. Um, So my name's Daniel. I'm from South Carolina, as you said. That's correct. But I'm originally from Ohio, so I don't have the real strong Southern
So,
drawl like
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of the people around here do. But it's all good. I've lived here for a few years now. Um, so yeah, the climate here is it's kind of intense right now, and it's heating up with this. Oh, so when we talk about the injection, we're thinking about using the word V instead of the real word,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to throw the bots off a little bit.
Hmm.
So yeah, they are rolling, or they are ramping up the pressure um, to try to get everybody on the program, and it's actually kind of scary. It's actually kind of scary because I think this is in our notes, but with the Biden administration and the IRS, they are pushing major tax incentives for corporations. I think it was just announced on Monday for
Hmm.
corporations to start really ramping up their jab efforts. So we're starting to feel that in our workplaces more, I feel like.
Hmm.
So that's the bad news. Um, so it's really a process of coming to terms with that and sticking together and just I've really been opening up and being no bars hold basically with people and just laying it all out there, laying everything I know out there. and I'm really trying to keep people on my side, people in my circle,
Hmm.
just in the work that I do.
Yeah. Have you been feeling like the pressure? Like I'm not sure what you do for work, but have you been? I know you just mentioned you're feeling kind of corporate pressure. Is that like to you personally with what you do with your job now, or
Yeah,
is that yeah,
it,
yeah,
it's been ramping up ever since this week, pretty much. Like they just asking. I was actually furious earlier today, but yeah,
yeah,
just the constant bombardment is starting to come in because they reduced the age down to like 16 or something. So
yeah, yeah.
the excuses we used to have, they're ripping out from under us, and they're starting to really put the pressure on for the jab.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yes, he is in the United
yeah,
States.
this is the United States.
Yeah. Um, I know I know Connie's in here. She's somebody up here in Canada. But I can definitely speak on that in regards to corporate pressure. I'm not going to talk about it too much just in case somebody sees this
Exactly that.
from
I
my
feel the same
job,
way.
but
I understand exactly where
yeah.
you're coming from.
Yeah, but I'm definitely I'm definitely feeling it. I mean, I'm working from home, so I don't thank God I'm not in the office where from what I'm being told, that is the politics 24/7.
Yeah,
Is just about the jab and when are you getting it? Are you getting it? That type of crap. So I think that's everywhere because we are seeing like a massive worldwide rollout for this. Um, and specifically here, I don't know like we have the charter, which is the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is equivalent to your American Constitution.
yeah, I'm
Um,
familiar with it. Yeah,
so I know for a fact that if employers here were to try to enforce or make that somewhat mandatory, it goes against so many sections of our charter, um, along with every other mandate that they're doing here. I'm sure you're aware of the whole hotel quarantine crap that was going on. And it was earlier this week that the federal uh, court finally recognized that that was going against mobility rights and everything as a Canadian citizen, and
yeah,
now that's finally going to trial in June. So now we have to wait until June to see what happens. So
yeah,
it's just like any type of push that they try to put on anybody, whether they're American, Canadian, it is an infringement on human rights on a grand scale.
yeah.
So
Well, that was the one thing I wanted to mention to the
mhm,
Canadian people is America. It it varies so much just depending on what region you're in, right? So New York is an absolute hellhole.
mhm,
That's all I know how to
yeah,
describe it.
yeah,
I've heard stories out of New York that are terrifying. Um, there's other states like Michigan that have been terrible. I traveled to Maryland and West Virginia, which is north of here, and I was able to get away with not wearing a mask at all in these states, but I didn't stay in those states very long. Pennsylvania is incredible, like just oppressive when you get in, like when you get into Pennsylvania, it's
mhm,
oppressively, it's almost daunting compared to the South.
right,
It's very regional. Like this state I'm in never restricted sections of like Walmart, but Michigan did. So it's been really a patchwork of randomness. And
right,
like Florida is notorious for being very free, which is awesome.
yeah,
And Texas is finally coming around to their senses, even though
mhm,
Texas was definitely one of the worst states. Um, for a while, Texas was one of the worst states. I don't
right,
think it ever compared to, say, New York, but um, Texas was pretty bad for a while. So that's the thing about America. I don't know, like, it's like the blue states follow this very strict
Hmm.
100% mask,
Right.
100%. I don't know what they're, I think New York has administered about 18 million of the stabs.
Right.
So, yeah, I know a lot of people were asking about that. Like, what are the restrictions?
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
stories? Because I've been hearing absolute horror stories out of Canada, and
Yeah.
I've been amazed at how many Canadians I've connected with on this platform. You know?
Yeah, likewise,
Yeah,
likewise with Americans on my end.
yeah,
I think it what's going on down there in terms of this crisis, whatever you want to call it, communism,
yeah.
it is on a regional basis. And I know for my Canadians here now, a few of them are out west in British Columbia, and each province, it's run the same way. We have premiers instead of governors, and
Yeah,
each province has their own way of running this. And by far, Ontario and Quebec have been the two shitholes in all of this. And we're just extremely restricted. Whereas out west, I know BC, they started um, kind of more aggressive restrictions possibly a month ago. Kat, if you're on here, I know you're from BC. If you want to just type something in the comments, I'm not too familiar. Like, I'm only really focused on what's going on in Ontario, which is
yeah,
can't do anything. And we, this past stay at home order, this is the second one that our premier put in. And now they went as far as blocking non-essential items off in grocery stores and in dollar stores, and like it's unreal. I remember when this happened, I think we're going on 4 weeks now, if I'm correct. Just seeing all the photos that everyone was posting on Instagram of you know aisles of baby stuff blocked off and clothes, and there was a really funny one of masks. There was caution tape over masks, so it's like, oh, are those not essential anymore? I don't have to wear those anymore. Okay. But that's what we're seeing, and it's just like this is not about a virus anymore, like it's about complete government control. Because what the hell does a virus have to do with blocking off diapers? What the hell does a
yeah,
virus have to do with blocking off clothes, like, or shoes or whatever? And
yeah,
it's absolutely in like insanity. And the problem with Canadians, and I'm not afraid to say this,
yeah,
Canadians have been bred for generations to be complacent.
yeah.
That's why the whole world says, "Oh, Canadians are so nice." Yeah, because we're fucking complacent idiots. That's why.
What what did I tell you about Canadians? You guys are really good at your jobs and not a lot else.
Yeah.
And
It,
only your jobs. You
it's it's true. Honestly,
yeah,
like, I got a lot of love for this country, but then there's also a lot of disappointment in a good portion of the population here that are just sheeple. Like, they say, yes, okay, I'll listen, or else I'm gonna get in trouble and I have to care about my neighbor. It's just like it's getting worse, and now we're
yeah.
kind of just running out of time. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that whole leaked email from back in October at all.
Pertaining to
So it was a leaked email from someone who works in the Liberal Party caucus.
okay.
Um, and they basically leaked an email in October that pretty much states like a full spectrum timeline of what the intentions of the government, of their intentions of what they want to do between um, that time frame of October, November into all the way till the end of this year. And we've literally checked every single portion of that timeline off. And now we're at the very end. And I think more and more people have slowly started
Yeah,
to come to in regards to that email. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that just pass everything as conspiracy theory. But it's no longer a conspiracy theory when you start to see all this stuff happening that this leaked email actually predicted.
I
So
don't know how people can still use the term conspiracy theory, right? Because
yeah.
like actually earlier today I was accused of being a conspiracy theorist for believing what I saw on the news. And I was like, buddy, I believe the opposite of what I see on the news. Where the heck did you even come up with that? So
It's like even if you try to pass facts, it's like no, it's a conspiracy, it's fake. It's like no, like
exactly.
it's on
I
the
don't,
TV. Like how is that?
yeah,
It's
but
on the TV or it's on your whatever. Like it's coming from the horse's mouth, and it's still a conspiracy theory. Like it's so exhausting. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, it's craziness. I don't know if there's any sort of plan in the United States with how, like, what the timeline is in terms of wanting to have a certain amount of people uh, injected. Um, but I know here in Canada, our top doctor, Dr. Tam, last week put out that she wants at least 75% of the Canadian population to be injected in order to have a summer. Um, and I did some math that I'm going to share with you guys,
yeah.
because I don't think that I don't think it's going to fly. And if my math is correct, I mean, I double checked it, but if my math is correct, I don't think it's possible. So in Canada, we have approximately 38 million people,
Yo,
and 75% of 38 million people is around 28,500,000 people. Now, summer starts 2 months from now, roughly. Divide
yeah.
that number by 2 months. That's around 2,371,000 100,000 per week injections. I don't think that's possible. I don't think
We,
that's possible.
you know, one thing that I've been noticing here in the States is it really feels like the government officials are starting to panic
Mm-hmm.
because initially, when they started opening up all these age groups, there was these massive rushes of people that were rushing down there to get the injection. Well, now that those initial waves are injected,
Mm-hmm.
they've all got their shot. Um, they're starting to panic a little bit because the numbers of people that they want to see they're not materializing at these
Yeah,
stations.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when they first opened the station here in my city, I made a live stream down there, and this is a funny story. I was live streaming on my Instagram here, and this guy comes walking out of the site where he just got his injection, and the dude turns on his truck, and then he drops into the parking lot and he starts doing push-ups. And I'm like, bro, what good push-ups are you gonna do at this point? Like you just injected poison into your body. Now you think you're just gonna like do push-ups and that's gonna make it all right. But
Ugh.
I just I'll never forget that. That was so nutty.
People
But
are crazy. People are crazy.
yeah.
I know in the States, like from what I've been hearing, there's been like clinics that are closing because they don't have the number of people, like the number of people or quota that they need or something like that. I don't know if that's in certain states,
Yes.
but I did see something. Yeah.
A lot of the testing sites are completely empty.
Mm,
So they had one here about a mile and a half up the road from where I live. There was never anybody there. I would go by there almost every day. There'd be like nobody there.
mm,
Um, that was one of my giveaways. I was trying to tell people like, listen, they can't even get people to come to their hocus pocus testing area.
yeah.
I went downtown Greenville to the main area and I streamed from there. The whole parking lot cones everywhere. Like the whole 40, 50 car parking lot or whatever it is. Not a single person in there using it.
Wow.
I started noticing that right away.
Right.
And it it became apparent. Oh man, do you want to talk about mask a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, let's talk about those. I saw your stories earlier about just like
Let's
the
talk about
pollution of masks. I saw that.
yes. They drive me nuts, man. Like if you go by,
Oh,
I have
I
to have a little bit of a sense of
I
humor
see
about
it
it because
here.
it's so nutty. It's it's so
Yeah.
insane. It's depressing, honestly. So go if you get a chance later, go watch my stories. You might get a kick out of them. I hope you did.
There, you gotta have a little bit of humor in it, right? You gotta kind of break up the seriousness of
Yeah.
everything going on. But that was
So
actually no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was actually gonna launch into a little bit of a thought. Go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
Um, the mask pollution is everywhere here pretty much, and not just like those
It's
stupid
everywhere.
blue masks. It's like it's even like the cloth ones, the ones that you can wash. Like it's just I don't know. And the thing that gets to me,
The
I've
blue
seen a
ones.
few. Yeah, yeah. Um, what gets to me is if this was such a horrible green goblin disease, then why are
Cootie's
people
not.
just, yeah, Cootie Central. Um, why are people just littering their used masks all over the place, right? And I know
That's
I've
a great,
seen a
great
photo of a
question.
hospital. It's a very good question. And even in hospitals, I saw a photo of a container of used medical masks just piled up in a garbage bin. It's not even in a biohazard bin. And it's like I thought this
You
was
know, and
deadly
that leads me
and
into
this
my
is
thought.
airborne.
I think it's all by design. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's by design.
Yeah, I think
Well,
so
let
too.
me tell you. Do you remember when Dr. Fauci, at the very beginning of this whole thing, went on 60 Minutes and said, in a outbreak, nobody needs to be wearing a mask, right?
Yeah.
So, and the interviewer, I can't remember who it was who was interviewing him. He said, "Are you sure about that? Because people are listening very closely." He said, he goes on to say wearing a mask might make you feel better and it may even stop a few water droplets, but it's not offering the perfect protection
Yeah.
that people think it is.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a theory that that was part of the grand scheme of this whole thing. Even those buffoonish comments, which most people think of as buffoonish. Now, hang in with me here for a second. I think the purpose of a lot of this has been to cause mass confusion
Hmm.
because it's this concept that these ruling class people are working on. The concept is Hegelian dialectic, and it's seeking. I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with that term, but it means seeking order out of chaos.
Hmm.
So the mask, the chaos with the mask, with the mixing and throwing dirty mask everywhere and Fauci on TV. It's all part of their plan. Now
Hmm.
and it's also government incompetency as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there is an element of just complete oversight because like I've often told people if this was real and masks really were protecting your health, every city, like basically every single city in the country would have biohazard waste
Hmm.
disposal areas. They
Yeah.
would have come get your fresh mask here. They would have time limits, like you shouldn't a mask should not be worn for more than set hours. Let's just say four
Hmm.
hours, half a shift
Yeah.
at work. You know,
Yeah.
all these things would be very clear, and it would all be it would make sense.
Right.
None of none of what we're living through is designed to make sense.
No.
My
Yeah.
opinion is that's part of the plan, part of
Hmm.
the Hegelian dialectic, part of
Yeah.
the it's part of the just mixing and confusing. And it's
Right.
also about division. I think
Yeah.
division
That's a big
is
thing.
a key component. I wrote
Yeah.
a few things down here in my notes
Yeah.
about the mask. and
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
the identity issue that the masks are causing.
Yes.
It's my theory, or it's not even a theory, it's just an observation. They're pushing them on the children so hard because it's about transforming our view of ourselves.
Hmm.
And a person working, walking, going to restaurants, traveling in a mask, over time, psychologically, that's going to start wearing down on our self-image, and we're going to start seeing the person wearing the mask is only going to see a sick person.
Yeah,
Each time they look in the mirror, each time they look at the person they're passing, each
yeah,
time they see their coworker, a child in school, they
yeah,
see the mask, they see sick people. It's part of
yeah,
the pounding in, the psychological abuse, the
yeah,
psychological, and which I think is connected to the show the money to me. I think it's connected to what I originally said about the Hegelian dialectic, with the order out of chaos. Because
right.
yeah, but go ahead. I know you have some thoughts.
It's I think it's the same thing here. And um I know my Canadian friends that are on here now. I know someone said that and I can speak for this myself because I've been to Toronto for a rally in March, and it's absolutely just I've never seen anything like it. And
Yeah,
even here, like last March, April, May, June, I'm trying to think back now when this whole mask mandate actually like was passed in
yeah,
each region, and I'm pretty sure it was in July. So we
yeah,
went March, April, May, June without wearing a mask anywhere.
yeah,
It wasn't mandatory. And my first observation with the whole concept of wearing a mask everywhere you go was that it's a form of censorship, exactly what you're saying.
yeah,
Um, and censorship, not just the fact that it covers, a good portion of your face where you do lose a portion of your identity, um, but it's also censorship
yes,
of the mind. And we're seeing that because a lot of people
yeah,
are becoming so numb, so used to this whole new normal. Um, and the mask is a big part of it because it's constantly there. It's a constant symbol reminding everybody, hey, there's a there's a pandemic going on. You need to wear it or else you can't do this, you can't do that. And I personally believe that everything that they have implemented leading up to the jab rollout was all conditioning to just say, I give up. I don't want to deal with this. I just want to take the jab. I just want my
yeah,
freedoms back.
yeah,
So they've been very smart and strategic in how to affect people mentally, emotionally, physically, everything, mind, body, soul. Um,
yeah,
and here in Canada, especially in Toronto, people wear masks outside. And this is what I don't
yeah,
understand because our government hasn't once talked, preached about, how to keep your health up naturally with supplements, zinc, vitamin C, D, exercise, eat right. There has been no mention of that at all. It's always just been mask, jab, mask, jab, nothing else. Um, and in Toronto, it's just like people wear it outside. It's like, why are you wearing it outside for? You're outside, like you're
yeah,
why? Because you're around a group of people. So now people are like the idiots are
yeah,
have been conditioned to think that every walking soul is a walking disease,
yeah,
and
yes.
it's like, and now with kids, it's like
Oh my
it's
gosh.
hard. Like our as adults, our minds are pretty developed, right? We
Well,
didn't have to
some
go
of
through
us.
this. Some of us, right? A lot of us are missing a lot of oxygen.
Yeah,
But with children, I honestly believe that this push on them to wear it their brains are still developing, right? They're
It's
not,
sinister.
they don't know,
It's
they don't know how
sinister.
to articulate things very well. They don't know how to defend for themselves. And implementing that in young children, I think, is a whole strategy to make them succumb to not having an identity anymore. I mean, we're seeing this with other issues, right? With this whole gender issue as well, right? Like it's just like I feel like everything is kind of connected to this worldwide agenda, but specifically with masks, it's
Yeah.
just like if these things worked, if these things truly worked, I know Ontario would not be in a third lockdown. And
Yeah.
these masks, the way they've been used in the past is just for hygienic purposes through dental hygienists, through, surgeons, some estheticians would wear these masks because it's a form of hygiene. You don't want to spit on somebody, but it's definitely not to prevent a disease or a virus from
Yeah.
being spread.
Yeah.
So there's just there's just so much virtue signaling and gaslighting with these masks. It's like if you don't have a mask, you're a completely horrible human being, and you're killing people, and you're so selfish. Um, and the big thing too that I think a lot of businesses don't really are not really educated on is the whole idea of mask exemptions. I know in the States you guys have that too. Um, and here, like mask exemptions are built into each regional
Yeah.
bylaw. And the amount of fear that has been instilled in people from the very beginning with you got to wear a mask, you got to wear a mask, you got to keep your distance, wear a mask, wear a mask. It's clouded everyone's judgment to actually think critically and realize that, oh shit, there's actually bylaws out there that state that people can't wear masks for medical reasons, right?
Yeah.
But the government has done a very good job at psychologically manipulating people into thinking that a mask is what you need to do to save people's lives. And if someone doesn't wear it, then they're an anti-masker or they're this and that. Like just so many names get thrown out. You know that it's just it's unreal.
Here, here
It's
in
bad out here.
America, here in America, they accuse you of being like a Trump supporter, which
Oh
is
my
not
God.
not even an insult to me or most of the people I know.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's what you're saying is by design.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, recalling back to last year, what we started noticing here was people started self-enforcing it. So it started out with like just two or three people here and there, like at Walmart, right?
Hmm.
It started like snowball affecting, and once it hit like that 50%, like 50% muzzled, it was just like downhill from there. Like now
Yeah.
it's 70, 80, 90%.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we ever saw 100% here where I live, but I mean, it got close to it.
I'm sure there's a lot more pushback there. Because like with the whole masks, like, do you find that like when you're out and about, are people like, do you see other people in your community, like in your area, not wear it when they go out? Do you see
Oh yeah,
that at all? Yeah.
all like especially in the more rural parts. Take off your hat, Tiffy. Tiffy's my nickname. A few of the people in the chat don't. That's a nickname I get. Um, is that better for you, Jr.? But Jr.'s an anti-masker, right? Or did you go get your shot today? Never mind. um, but people, yeah, people self-enforce because we never had a governor mandate here. Jamie's still here. What's up, man? So, but there is like city mandate. So if you go to the city, certain restaurants or stores might say something to you, but you pretty much can get away with it. Travel
Right.
into North Carolina, where they have a mask mandate, it's like a whole nother nightmare altogether. It's like they got their governor's nightmare mandate there for indoor and outdoor public gatherings. It's like a whole nother culture. Now, rural North Carolina never really picked it up, but you'll notice it's in the city parts, like the the blue. We call them blue areas because if they're like
Yeah,
heavily Democratic, we call them
right.
blue areas.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. It's like one thing I kept noticing. It's like everybody already kind of had picked their sides. Maybe not everybody, but many people had already picked their sides before all this even started. It's like the mentalities were already in place.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
agree. I definitely agree. Um, in some cases, some mentalities have been shifted
yeah, I'm sure they
amongst,
have.
yeah, like it. I think that's going to happen. I think that's still going to happen. Like everyone's just on their own journey with this.
Yeah,
Um, but I, I, I don't know. I honestly feel like up here it's incredibly difficult to get every single Canadian on board with just accepting the fact that this all could just be a complete friggin' sham. And everyone's just extremely defensive up here. I don't know why, because I've never really like, I know Canada has always been complacent with a lot of it, like a lot of things, but in terms of just what's going on now, um, people are just completely stubborn in wanting to just think outside of the box. And that's just something that I've never really like I wouldn't have really expected that part to actually come out here in Canada, and specifically in the Greater Toronto area. Like it's, I don't know,
it is. It is
it's
this.
almost, yeah, it's almost like this was like Canada, I'm pretty sure is the friggin' laughing stock of the world right now, like on so many levels. But it's almost like this was created for Canada to be really complacent with it. And I was
Yeah,
actually talking to a someone in the Canadian Armed Forces who is a retired medic, and I was explaining to him my analogy on what I think is actually going on if we want to talk about a new world order or a global takeover. And you have North America, you have Canada, the US, and Mexico.
yeah,
Mexico, no offense, has been compromised years ago. Um, the United States is a lot more difficult to take out. You
right.
guys pretty much, I don't know, in my humble opinion, I feel like the American military is probably the best in the world. Um, but taking out a country like the United States, I feel like is a lot harder. Um, to kind of infiltrate corruption, which we are seeing, but I feel like there's a lot more pushback from what I'm seeing in the United States. And then you have Canada, who, like I said, has been bred through generations to be complacent little idiots. And we're seeing that corruption. We're seeing our country being taken away from us. We're seeing our rights and freedoms being taken away from us. And um, and it's really evident with, I mentioned it to you earlier today that I wanted to touch on it. Bill C-10, which is something that the federal government is wanting to put in to censor the internet.
Yeah,
And
the
where
Canadian.
do we see that? We see that in China.
Yeah,
China has that. Like the Chinese people don't have access to the regular internet. They don't have access to something like WhatsApp. They use WeChat. Everything is government controlled. And that exact same plan is what is happening here in Canada. So it's just like, what happened to the land of the free, like the true north, strong and free? Like I don't understand. It's unreal, unreal.
um, yeah. That's is the internet censorship thing that you mentioned.
Yeah.
i- Is that something that's proposed, or like how close to being law is that?
Um, I want to say it's like it's in the talks. It's on the table, and I have it pulled up here right now. They're definitely talking about implementing it, but of course, that's something that has to be pass through legislation.
Yeah.
And today, a really good MP by the name of Pierre Poilievre, he's amazing. He's a hardcore conservative MP he's just savage. He knows how to attack that guy. And he actually posted a petition that he's putting together to help stop the censorship bill.
Okay.
Um,
That's encouraging.
yeah, I mean there's been a lot of those. Um, and he does work for the government at a federal level.
Yeah.
So I feel like he'd have a little bit more pull
Yeah.
with kind of fighting back with that. But it's definitely something that is being talked about and seriously considered from Trudeau.
Well,
So
here in America, what I feel is the internet, like the major platforms are so censored, which I'm sure you guys have the same exact thing. It's like they don't even need the government to back them up. Like all they have to do is just they're also liberal, and
yeah,
they're also anti-freedom. Just these corporations themselves,
yeah,
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter's the worst. Like all these big tech, even YouTube, Google, YouTube,
yeah,
terrible. Like you can't. They have these standards about medical misinformation. They they don't need the government to censor us. They just do it by themselves. It's
yeah.
amazing.
I
It,
know.
it's incredible. You know, it's like because when I was a libertarian, are you familiar with the concept of being libertarian?
A little bit, a little bit.
It's like this concept that you know, we just need freedom from the government, and corporations are not going to intrude on our rights, and if they do, we can just find somewhere else to shop,
Right.
and
Yeah.
all this, you know, all this crap. I don't believe any of that anymore because I feel like, or I know, I definitely observe corporations and big companies taking away our rights almost faster than the government can dream of, right? And it really makes you start to question where the separation is. It seems
Mm,
like they're also in bed together.
right.
I want to ask the question for, I know most of the people in your group are in our circle are probably fighting for rights,
Hmm.
fighting for people's freedom,
Hmm.
fighting for just our right to live in dignity.
Yeah.
If you're not, what are you doing with your life right now?
It
I mean,
People are sitting in front of the TV watching Netflix, doing TikToks, and just have their thumb in their mouth and
yeah,
just sucking off of the government because like and I see it, like I have like friends that I love like dearly, and unfortunately I can't talk to them about this stuff because they're just so, so far gone. And I see their stuff. I mean, most of the content I see now on this account is just all, what we're talking about. But when I do see, what other people are doing, it's like life is their, like their life now. It's like they're kind of conforming to the new normal. And it's like, no, like this
how
is what
though?
people don't understand. It's like by
How?
you conforming,
Yeah.
you're allowing this to happen.
The year 2020, when we think of 2020, we think of 2020 vision. The reason they unveiled, this is my theory, the reason they unveiled the pandemic in 2020 is because it was a signal to clear vision. If you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
if you can't see it, if like they say 2020 is hindsight, like if you can't see it by now, like I don't know if I have any like hope for you.
I know.
If
It's I don't know. It
it's like
I
with
think people are just gonna have to learn the hard way. Like
yeah,
I said, like people are just on their own journey with this, and
yeah,
I mean, all we can do is continue planting seeds and hope that they sprout. But
yeah. You want you want to talk about the numbers a little bit that we went up?
sorry, you cut out there. Can you say that again?
Do you want to talk about the numbers that we went over? like
Yeah.
the worldwide numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um,
anybody thinks that there's a global pandemic, let's just consider a few numbers, right? I don't know how familiar everybody is with these numbers. So China was the original epicenter of the first cooties case, right? Or
yeah.
what were we calling it? The green monster
The
disease?
Green Goblin.
The green
The Green
goblin
Goblin.
in the world. They have 443,915,641 people living in their country. Does anybody want to guess how many COVID deaths they had out of that 1,443,915,000 blah blah blah? They had 4,600.
Four. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it was less than 5,000.
Yeah, and that number's been like flatlined like for months now.
That's a big question mark.
So, and then that brings us to India, right?
Yeah.
So we keep seeing all these what are the videos coming out of India? They're like people like falling down in the street.
Supposedly, people are literally, yeah, falling over on the street, no oxygen. There's just burning bodies and all that stuff. And like,
The fear factor. The fear
right,
factor.
right,
So
right.
you sent me something that was pretty interesting. It was when the inoculations, the euthanation pill,
Yeah,
the jabs
the
started coming
jobs.
with almost a exact pinpoint exact point, the deaths began rising.
Yeah.
That's troubling. That's troubling.
Well, it is, and I've been seeing this chart. I think I talked about it on my live this morning. I think I may have sent it to you last night, but it was a chart that was posted from somebody up here, at
Mm-hmm.
least from where I initially saw it. And it's really funny because you blatantly see that pattern in this chart. And if the statistics are correct, like if the timeline is correct, what we're seeing is, um, ivermectin was introduced as a treatment for the Green Goblin cooties virus.
Yeah.
And after that, like that hump where ivermectin was introduced, which was last year,
Yeah.
um, that hump starts to fall, and that brings it into the end of last year, into the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And their jab rollout was in, I believe it was in
Yeah.
February. That was when they started to roll it out.
Yeah.
When it started to ramp up, which was in March, from there we see on that chart that that hump is skyrocketing. So this is what's kind of weird, because you guys had a treatment which was ivermectin. That chart showed that cases were going down,
Yeah.
deaths were going down because it was working. And now that they've introduced a massive rollout, we're starting to see those deaths.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of speculation going on right now with this, because a lot of people are talking about shedding and transmission and all that stuff. And unfortunately, like, even, these 5 doctors that I've listened to on critical thinking with Dr. Tenpenny, like they don't even really know what's going on, because
No.
this has never, like, we've never seen this before,
It's
right? Like,
it's too early to know what's going on, really.
yeah.
Somebody in the comments mentioned they're showing clips from a gas leak.
Yes.
Somebody
Yeah.
did a reverse image search on one
Yeah.
of these images that was published on a news story. You can't trust these news stories. These news stories are fraudulent as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the they're the exact same image they're using for the the lady holding the oxygen tank in the
Yeah.
street
Yeah.
from 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
In these industrialized cities in India, I don't know if a lot of people realize this. Gas leaks are not that uncommon. In fact, the worst industrial accident to like the worst, most deadly industrial accident to ever happen in like industrialized world happened in India back in the 80s. It
Mm.
was a gas company called Union Carbide. There was a massive, you can look this up online, but there was a massive deadly gas leak in the middle of the night, and literally thousands of people died in the streets in India. And it's probably not that uncommon, like just for smaller scale events like that to happen in some of these industrialized cities that are, you know, their safety practice standards are not very high
Yeah.
just because of the conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. I, there's been a lot of debunkings with, like you said, these news outlets, they can't be trusted. Their
No.
integrity has been compromised a very long time ago. Um, and, I know the New York Post is not a very good, resourceful
Oh,
news outlet,
they're probably one
but
of the better ones, to tell you the truth.
really?
I mean, the New York Post, they were the ones that were actually talking about like Hunter Biden and the laptops.
That shit. Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We Canadians are very informed with American politics, but yet we can't even pay attention to our own. So,
Are they more, is American politics more entertaining for you guys?
I feel like when Trump was in, it definitely was. I don't know. Canadians really resonated with the whole hating Trump wagon.
Did they really? Oh,
Oh yeah, it's
that,
it's just like people were so consumed in American politics. They were just so consumed with hating Trump and wanting him out, even though you live in Canada and you can't really do anything about it. But yet we have a corrupt liberal government that is completely screwing up our country. Why
yeah,
not
like
just put your
clean up,
focus in your own country?
clean up your own mess before you worry about before you worry about our mess.
It was absolutely like insane. And now I think with Biden, it's like
Oh,
I think now all the Trump supporters that were in Canada are just like poking fun at Biden now. But
Biden,
it's ridiculous. But
Biden's a joke. Did you see the video where they were having like a world leader Zoom call?
and he's wearing his mask.
And he's on the Zoom call wearing a mask and everybody else. And the guy's a joke, man. I mean, he's literally just there as a placeholder. I think
Yeah,
most of us probably know that.
yeah,
Like, he's a placeholder, a little like puppet, basically.
yeah.
Yeah, he needs to be in a nursing home.
He does. He doesn't even know where he is, and like he just everything that comes out of his mouth is completely gibberish. Like, how are you president?
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, I don't know. With India, I honestly think it has something to do with the jabs. That's what I think because the stat says that at least 127 million people in India received their first dose. That's a lot of people.
That
Um,
that's staggering. That's honestly a staggering number.
yeah,
And with like this dose, we don't really know under what conditions. Like, we can speculate about what the ingredients in these shots are, and
hmm
so like they had to shut down a J&J manufacturing company in Baltimore, Maryland, because the conditions of this factory were just so abysmal. And I don't know if, I'm sure you heard about the J&J disaster with all the blood clots and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
That now in retrospect seems like just a distraction from like the real issues, because they were trying to say it was 7 cases out of 7 million or something, which
yeah,
we all know that's absurd.
yeah,
I think our inner knowing can just tell us
We know that sorry, we know that they are not being completely transparent with that.
And
Um,
they never
be,
have been. They never have been.
no, and I don't think they ever will be
No.
because like even when Europe started reporting or when certain countries in Europe started actually pulling that specific brand of the jab due to blood clots,
Yeah.
and then rapidly after it was like 16 plus countries in less than 2 weeks that completely were pulling it. And it's like, and now I heard something how I can't remember if it was, I think it was AstraZeneca or Johnson and Johnson, that a good portion of that was being pulled in the United States and it was being sent to Ontario.
Really.
And it's like, well, maybe the United States is a little bit smarter than us. They probably know that something's going on there, but we'll just take it up here
Do
because
you?
they got to meet their quota of injections.
I
I
haven't
almost
really.
said the V word.
I haven't heard about AstraZeneca really being administered in the States though, because
Okay.
here it's just been J&J, the PZ whatever, and then
Yeah,
the mod shots. I don't even like saying the names of the companies because that'll get the robots' attention.
yeah.
Yeah, masks are coming off in a lot of places. Also, I wanted to ask the people, when are they going to start selling bottled air? Have you seen that? There's like a movie, and in the movie they're all selling bottled air. Um, like
What movie is that?
it's the Lorax. It's like a Dr. Seuss movie. It's an older movie. It's like it's almost like a kids movie.
Interesting. Was this done? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that came out, I would say within the last 10 years, right? That movie?
It could have. I've seen it a few years ago, but in that movie,
Preemptive programming?
they're selling bottled air. It almost it almost feels appropriate for like the direction we're going, because first we had to get bottled water. Well, next thing you know, there's going to be a whole new market, and because everybody's so scared to breathe air anymore, there's going to be a new.
It it's honestly so true. It's
It,
honestly so true.
you'll spend all your UBI. This is the future. You spend all your UBI on bottled air, or half of it.
Oh my
Part you
God.
don't the part you don't spend on synthetic weed and whatever else.
My God. Everything is just marketable these days. Literally everything.
Well, so
Like,
much of the scamdemic has been marketing.
oh yeah. It's just constant propaganda. Like
I
you,
think, yeah,
if something is like, I don't know, the way I see it is you don't need to be constantly fed propaganda in order to remember that there is a pandemic or a green goblin cootie bug going around. Like people will just naturally know, okay, I guess I'll be careful. But
yeah,
it's just like when you have to constantly pump something in front of people, that's called conditioning. You're
yeah,
preparing them for something.
yeah,
And I know in Canada, we're seeing that. We're seeing that, like I mentioned, with that, with that leaked email.
yeah.
Um, it's crazy. Do you guys have like a program in the States, like a paid leave program or anything in regards to like if people want to get the injection that their employer gives them, like
Yes.
paid sick leave?
So that just came out, and I learned about this just I think Monday. The IRS and the Biden administration just released a program for reimbursing companies, like small companies, up to 500 or up to like $500 a day per employee who gets sick after getting the jab. So basically, like they're incentivizing these companies. if if your employees go out and get the jab and then get sick and can't come to work, that's a tax write-off. It's sinister as hell.
Wow. Holy crap. That's a tax write-off?
Oh yeah, 500 up to $500 a day. I don't know if that's based on like the employee's um salary or what, but yeah, it's pretty sinister.
That's crazy. Um,
The death increases over year. I sent this to you. I just was looking at this. This is fascinating. Like, to
mhm.
me, this blows the whole pandemic narrative completely up. 2015 over 2014, deaths in America increased over almost like 3.28% year over year. 2007, or no, 3.28%. 2017, deaths percentage increased 2.5%.
Hmm.
2020, they only increased 2%. So basically, what that proves is every year in the United States, it's probably about the same in Canada. As the population grows, the increase of overall fatalities throughout the country
Yeah,
increases.
yeah.
So,
That makes sense. That's variable. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, I actually wrote down, hold on, to kind of put that into perspective, like, I mean, in Canada, I couldn't find concrete stats on like categorized deaths in Canada from other comorbidities like cancer and whatnot.
yeah.
Um,
They've made these things really hard to find, honestly.
yeah,
They,
yeah.
I believe they're intentionally hiding a lot of information.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Um, However, I was able to find worldwide stats.
Okay,
So, um,
well, there you go.
yeah. So right now, what I've been able to pull up is worldwide in terms of the um, green goblin disease. Is that a little over 3 million people have supposedly died. Now, that's about 0.4% of the global population. According to the WHO,
Yeah,
cancer killed 10 million people in 2020.
cancer.
Cancer.
Yeah,
Heart disease was 10,890,000. So that's about 15.5% of the population. And then the third was strokes of a little over 7.8 million. So COVID or
you're
the
all right. Saying
oh
one time won't ruin our dream.
the green goblin disease
Yeah,
is a complete fraction of the other three top comorbidities that um, you know that happen globally around the world. And I'm sure cancer, heart disease, and stroke are pretty generalized for not third world countries, but more developed countries like Canada and the United States.
yeah,
And this is something that I have presented to so many people that are either on the fence or not there at all.
yeah,
Those stats.
yeah,
And it's like, well, it's still killing people.
yeah. Yeah, and well, you know that I put a note in here about I put the hypochondriac epidemic.
Yeah.
It's part of that social condition that we were talking about earlier. If you're constantly waving in people's faces, be afraid of sickness, be afraid of sickness, be afraid of sickness,
Yeah.
that's going to psychologically, and then you're putting people behind a mask, that's going to psychologically just destroy them. It's going to run their will down. It's going
Mhm.
like the psychological damage of the constant pushing of the sickness narrative onto the people. I don't think we can really categorize it. It's so pervasive. Yeah,
Mhm.
condition.
Conditioning. Yeah.
It's so out of control, and it's designed to psychologically manipulate us. And really, like, every time you get sniffles now, do I have it? Do I have it? Oh, I need to go get a test.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to go quarantine. I need to hide from my family. And it's been amazing to watch. it's just been amazing to watch the psychological transformation that people have undergone. It's the new normal, like
Yeah.
constantly the normalizing of constant invasive and harmful testing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that we can I don't think we can underestimate that. Um, because these tests, well, first of all, they're fraudulent,
Yeah.
and second of all, they're completely invasive. If
Yeah.
I can speak in your presence and just my speaking or breathing can get you sick, can get you deathly ill, and then you're going to go get your grandma deathly ill, why can't you just take a little sample of like my whatever's right here in my nose, or just a little spit sample, just something? Why do you
Yeah.
got to stick that
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
all the way to the
All
back
the
of my
way.
throat,
Yeah.
like the slaves in Egypt when
Yeah.
they were in ancient Egypt, there was a practice where they would literally poke the back of people's throats as part of like their torture method. Like, wake the hell up.
I know. I saw that yesterday and today, like that that informational graphic being circulated, and I actually never even knew that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the test too, like even the creator of the test has even said that like a PCR test was never designed to um, pick up a like pick up and diagnose
Yeah.
a disease or a like or a V. Like
Yeah.
it was never designed to do that.
Do you know what that PCR tests were used for before 2020?
No.
Okay, they were used for finding DNA in crime scenes.
Oh,
Think about that.
wow.
Like cops would buy PCR test if there was some blood, if there was like whatever, but like basically just any biological material they could find in a crime scene. They were picking it up and running it through the PCR test to find DNA. They weren't looking to see if the people in the crimes were sick. They were just looking to identify their DNA,
Well,
which
isn't that a little
it
interesting?
is interesting. And like if you listen to the guy that died back in 2019, his name was he was not he was Fauci's worst villain nightmare. The creator, Kerry Mullis, yeah,
Yes.
Dr.
Yeah.
If you listen to him, he was his opinion on the PCR test was just that. It's used for many things. Yeah, like forensic files. Like
Right.
we've all seen forensic files. I used to be a forensics files junkie. A few years ago, that was my shit. Like I loved that show. I haven't watched. In fact, I used to listen to it on the radio. It's actually like you don't really need to watch it because I had the radio in my car, right? And I would just be driving here and there listening to forensic files. It's actually like a pretty cool show just to listen to in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
Whoever that dude who narrates it, I can't remember what his name is, but like you don't have to watch it to enjoy it. You can actually enjoy it just by listening to it.
Right. Right.
If you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Well,
I
that's definitely something that I never knew
yeah.
about the PCR test, that it was used in forensics. And now that you say that, it's just like a friggin' light bulb going off
It
over my
is.
head. It's like, so then what are you guys actually doing to
Which,
people that are getting it? You're literally, it's like DNA harvesting,
yeah,
essentially. That's what I think.
somebody put right here genetic
Genetic fingerprinting.
fingerprinting. That's absolutely what it is, which is why I've been avoiding that test like the plague.
Yeah.
I don't really know, like, in the grand scheme of my whole life, if not taking a COVID test is really going to mean that much. But for me right now, it's like a race against just stupidity. Like,
Yeah.
if I can get through the next week and the next week and the next week, and I don't have to wear a mask, and I don't have to submit myself to a invasive, harmful PCR test, fraudulent PCR test, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
I feel
They're
like I'm winning
completely
a little
fraudulent.
bit.
Are a lot of I guess in I don't know if you have any insight, like just nationally in the United States, but at least in South Carolina, I know you said like one testing facility, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
But are you like, is that like statewide you're seeing that kind of drop, or is that kind of bleeding out into other states where people are just kind of tuning into not giving into it?
Okay, so most people when they get tested, I think go to CVS, the
They
the
go where, sorry?
the drugstore like CVS.
Okay, yep, yep.
Um, there is a COVID testing place that's near my work that charges people or either $100 or $200 to do a rapid test. So they're basically they're ripping people off big time. These fraudulent PCR tests, which probably cost like 50 cents to make,
Hmm.
or even they probably cost 10 cents to make, honestly.
Right.
And they're charging people $200 per test. When I was in Columbia, the state capital of South Carolina, I was just driving around looking at the city. This was like last fall. There was the National Guard had set up a whole COVID testing area for the
Testing area.
Hootie virus. I keep slipping up. We've been on here for a while. But no, that was actually kind of creepy to see that. Like the National Guard out there, full camouflage, Hummers, everything. Um, just taking people's samples, you know?
That's holy crap. Okay, so if people want to get tested there, then they can go buy it at a pharmacy,
Well, I don't know what the pharmacy's charging. I'd have to find out about that.
or like you mentioned CVS, so people could buy a test
Yeah, they do the
there.
test. Like
Okay.
CVS set up like a storage container at all their stores. It's funny because I never see anybody actually using them, but
Wow.
I assume they're using them. And then a lot of people are going to CVS and like the grocery store to get the jab. So like initially when they first started rolling the jab out, it was at like basically a giant. Did you ever hear about the department store Kmart?
Yep. Yeah, we have
So
that up here too. Yeah.
okay, so the Kmart's are pretty much all closed now, but they started rolling the jab out at the old Kmart. Like they basically renovated the whole building. I don't know if the government paid for it. I mean, the government I'm sure paid for it at some level. It, it was creepy though. I went and did some live streams there. Um, where's all this going? Like, do we ever get out of this mess? Like, can we? Also, do you see the military moving in, like, in Canada? Are you starting to see like more military presence? More, are you starting to see a greater like medical military presence in your city? Because I feel like I'm starting to see that here.
Yeah. It's actually good that you brought that up
Yeah,
because I believe it was earlier this week. Um, okay, so before I explain that, remember that leaked email I was talking to you about?
yeah,
So the last point, the timeline to tyranny, as we're calling it, um, at the last point of that timeline actually is talking about military deployment. And earlier this week, the provincial government, so Ontario, asked the federal government to have military deployment in Ontario, and it was approved. So from what I've been reading, it's specifically like medical officials that do work for the Canadian Armed Forces to be deployed to hotspots or field hospitals to help assist uh, the other physicians or medical professionals that work there.
yeah.
Um, And there has also been rumors of interprovincial checkpoints as well that are being, just guarded by Canadian military. So I think we're definitely starting to see that ramping up
Yeah.
here. But right now, it's by deploying medical, like military medics to
Yeah.
where they're needed.
That's the thing. Like, this is what makes me, like, proof to me that the normies are wrong, because there's this mindset that if you can just get everybody to get the injection, that everything goes back to normal, right?
Yeah.
That's not what I'm feeling. Like,
No.
what I'm feeling is it's building up to just the next phase.
Yeah.
So, um, as you, this is why I feel like I have to tell everybody, you got to draw the line at the jab,
Yeah.
because if we can just slow the brakes on wherever this thing is going, if we can just hold the brakes up just a little bit, it buys us more time.
Yes. Yeah.
It might buy us just a little bit more time, because this is not like the normal, like, that you thought of, like the 2 years ago normal. It's not. They're not planning on letting us have that back.
No. No.
um
No.
every like Chris Sky talked about this a lot. I
Yeah.
love Chris Sky. I hate
Yeah.
it that he got banned off of Instagram, but
I
that
know.
dude he was on fire, man. I need to find his Telegram.
I can
Maybe,
send it to you. I
yeah,
can
if
send it
you
to you.
have his
Yeah.
Telegram, send it to me for real.
Yeah.
But he talked about this as they're just moving their, it's like they're like in football, like as they're moving down the field, like they're getting their first downs, they're getting
Yeah.
just progressively moving up the field.
Yeah.
It's like, we're the defense, we have to stop, like we have to stop this progressive movement. And then there's a lot of people who need to be on the defensive side of this, who are actually helping the other team, thinking that if they just get that thing, their agenda completely rolled down the
Yeah.
field,
Yeah.
at that point that they can get their normal back.
Yeah.
Like Joe Biden promised that we could have, if we all went and got our shots and were good little boys and
You can
girls,
have a cookout for the 4th of July.
we could have just a few people, like small gathering in our neighborhood. I said, F off, Biden. Like, I can have as big of a barbecue party as I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I think the fine line right now is just um, you know, not succumbing to getting the jab, because I think that is, I know you mentioned it about, I think it was about Amazon. You posted something in your stories about Amazon and how they're
Yeah.
accepting payments or signatures with your hand or like your wrist.
What that is, they're working on, well, the Amazon has been working on this for a while, physical Amazon stores. And they want people to basically pay with their palm instead of, so it's like biometric payment, right?
Holy crap.
It's Amazon has been Amazon has been a fascination for me for a while, because they've had this obsession with automation and taking over, which is disturbing, because it's like, if you automate away all the jobs, where do the people get their income at that point?
Right. Right.
And I mean, I've started to get a better understanding of like where they're going with it, as far as like with the artificial intelligence and just the complete robot takeover, and then adding in UBI.
Universal
Yeah,
basic income. Oh God. Yeah,
it's
uh
amazing.
it's yeah, I think over the years there has been conditioning everywhere for
Yeah.
automation, for AI, technology, stuff like that. And I think I think the fine line for people is, like you said, is going to have to be to just to not to not succumb to getting the jab, because once that system, once they meet their quota, I think I think they're going to be rolling out an even bigger agenda. I
Yeah.
think this whole pandemic was a test run to see if people would actually let their government control them,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what we're seeing. And every mandate, every guideline, every law, we know they're not laws, but rules or whatever they put out is just about control. And they're promising, oh, you'll be able to travel and you'll be able to see your friends and your family if you get the
Yeah.
jab, but you still have to wear a mask
It's
right now. Like,
it's the carrot and the stick is what
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
It's the carrot is what they dangle in front of the mule to make him walk, like pull the load, right?
yeah, yeah,
And then the stick is what they hit you over the head with if you don't comply. There was a woman, I'm not sure who exactly she is. I think she works in the Biden administration, but she had gone on CNN and she was basically freaking out, saying about like the situation in Florida and Texas, saying that we can't let people have their freedom back unless they get inoculated, you know? Like she was freaking out saying like we have to keep in people's minds, like I've always said the government has an unhealthy obsession with getting a shot in your
yeah,
body,
yeah,
and
yeah.
corporate America is joining right in and just going right along with the agenda.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, I keep asking people like, do you ever stop and think about what are they doing with this? Like, why are they so obsessed with getting something in my body?
right,
What in your body? Like, what is the? Because they, it's like an obsession with them.
yeah,
It's like their one obsession. Get that shot into
yeah,
every citizen. Get that
yeah,
shot.
yeah. It's true. And it's
It's
like
it's scary. It's
it
honestly
it it is very scary, and it's sad that people still can't put that together, because no government, no other being has sovereignty over someone's
well they're
body, right?
supposed to. Yeah, they're not supposed to.
No, they're not. And people are letting that happen,
Yeah,
right? And I know you put, like, one of your last notes that you sent me
yeah.
earlier was
Human
about human
rights
rights. Yeah,
are for humans,
yeah,
not excluded for the jabbed,
yeah,
the
yeah,
inoculated.
yeah. It's
Like how can we reinstill that thought into people? Like how can we get people to start thinking about that again? How can we reinstill that fire, you know?
I think what at least from what I've seen with personally with a few people that I know, and just others in general up here,
Yeah.
is um, once you ask them about choice, like, it's I'll play devil's advocate with you. So if you want to wear a mask, that's fine. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But that is also a two-way street and should be reciprocated to another human being that doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And it goes the same thing with getting an injection. If you want to get it, go ahead. But if I don't want to, because I've done my research and I realize, more or less what it could possibly do, then my choice should also be respected. Because I think in all of this, um, freedom of choice is what has been completely swept under the rug. And
Well, I think they needed the chaos. They
yeah,
needed the chaos of everything that they ran between the, um, the mask and just the randomized everything. They
yeah,
needed the chaos
yeah,
to get people so psychologically beat to the point where they don't even think straight anymore.
yeah,
So we were going to talk about like our strained relationships with our families.
yeah, yeah,
There's certain members of my family I can really not even go visit right now because they've lost their minds so much. And it's been a slow beat down, or actually kind of a fast beat down. So it started out with oh, you just can't come over here unless you stay 6 feet away from me. So that's like last May, you know, kind of early on.
Right.
But the whole visit, you know, they didn't even enforce that. And then later in the summer, I hear, oh, if you come here, you got to wear a mask. And if you come in the house, you got to wear a mask to go to the bathroom. And we're only doing activities outside. I was like, okay, so if I come to your house, we're going to the gas station up a mile up the road if we need to go, or we're finding a tree, you know, and in your yard. Yeah, in your yard. And then last I heard, so I haven't been over there lately because it's in Tennessee. It's 12 feet and mask, and they've all had their shots now, but they still want the unshotted people to stay 12 feet away.
12 feet?
Yeah. So how do I as a sane thinking person go visit my aunt now, you know?
People, yeah, I think,
It's it's like a tidal wave of,
yeah,
and it's like somehow a few people got left on the riverbank, right? Like I'll just use a river analogy. They were all on a raft going to Insaneville. Somehow we got left off the raft, right?
hmm
They all got on the boat. The further they get carried down the river into complete utter non-thinking, the crazier we look watching them float away on their little stupid raft, you know?
I know. It's,
That's
I,
the best way I can explain it.
yeah,
It's a
and
shift in consciousness.
yeah, and it's very hard to do that with people because, this is psychological warfare. They're smart in the way that they did this, so it's very hard to get people off that raft or to
Yeah.
jump off.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and
it's more uncomfortable for those people that are
yes,
on that figurative raft
yeah,
because they've bought into that narrative so much. They have a lot of water to tread to get back to where we are.
yeah,
And
they do.
that would be a painful process
Yeah,
for them to get out of that
yeah,
mindset, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Which is why, like, the people that have received the inoculation, like, I don't know if I can have any hope for you at all at this point.
I know, and that's kind of my thoughts as well, because anyone that I know that has gotten it or is planning on getting it like I all I can really say is good luck to you,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I'm not happy. I mean,
Right.
I'm not happy you're getting it, but also it's not my, it's not my choice to make for you, but I just wish you well, and I hope you're going to live for the day where you'll learn your lesson. Like,
Well,
but it's just it's very hard. It's a very sensitive topic,
I
and
don't wish any harm on people. I
no,
don't.
me
I
neither.
don't.
Yeah,
Not even. I don't want to see anybody. Like, I hear some of the stuff that could potentially go wrong with these injections, like in the future, like with
yeah,
the immune system being completely destroyed
yeah,
from the overstimulation
yeah,
and the constant production of these spike proteins.
yeah,
Like, I hear all this information, and
yeah,
it's heartbreaking and it's scary, but at the same, and I don't wish any harm on people. Like, I don't want that outcome, and
yeah,
I try to explain that to people. Like, look, I'm not hoping for any of this.
yeah,
Like, this is not about me just being crazy or me wanting something bad to happen to you,
yeah, yeah,
because I don't want anything bad to happen to you.
yeah.
It's just the research I've done looks pretty credible, you know.
I know. I know. I feel the exact same way.
How can you tell people that the people that they look up to are psychotic criminals who want, like, half of us to, like, it's kind of a hard sell, honestly. It's
I
kind of a
know.
hard sell.
I know. I've been told that we are thankfully an insignificant bunch out of the population.
Oh, that's what you've been told.
Oh yeah,
Have
I've
you
been
seen
told.
Hunger Games?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. So what's the story layout in the Hunger Games? There's like the cities,
Yep.
and
The
then
factions, yeah.
yeah, and then you've
Yeah.
got like the people, the poor, the impoverished,
Yep.
the
Yep.
second class
Yep.
people,
Yep.
the people that they literally harvest for
Yep.
sport,
Yep.
living throughout the countryside.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I don't think that's that far out of the question. Like, honestly, yeah, in the districts,
Districts, yeah.
we could see that in our lifetimes. I mean, I'm not like saying I know that. I'm just
It's
saying
possible.
everything they put out there in movies is for a reason.
Oh yeah. I 100% believe in predictive programming. So
Yeah, I've
it's
researched
evident.
a lot. It's almost inhuman. Like the amount of if you look into the predictive programming for the big event in 2001. I don't know. I'm not sure how old you are exactly.
I'm going P32.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you and I, I'm 29, so we're close to the same age.
Okay.
So we are probably both old enough to remember September 11th, '01.
Yeah.
The amount of predictive programming that they ran for that event, it's inhuman. Like how they got it all out there,
Yeah.
how they slipped it into so many different movies and
Yeah.
TV
Yeah.
commercials
Yeah.
and Simpsons. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't. I don't see how it was people like making phone calls saying, "Hey, stick a little predictive programming in for and oh, you're working on a video game. Well, make sure you don't put the Twin Towers in the New York City skyline." Like how does that even work? You know,
I I
it's
think
it's a deep question.
yeah. There's a huge bell-like sound coming from your live. Oh, that's really weird.
Is it
Um,
mine or from yours?
I don't know.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear it either. I
Oh,
don't
weird.
know, Pam. I'm not too sure what's going on. I definitely don't hear anything. Um, but I think it's gone. Okay, that's weird. I think it's possible that we could probably see something like the Hunger Games in the future. I don't know. Like I mean, if this whole job pass support is going to be implemented, I feel like that is a similar system in a way because if you don't have that, then how do you survive,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
another thing you saw in the Hunger Games scenario is the population is in these districts is greatly reduced, right? If this inoculation that they're rolling out right now is a depopulation, I like to call it Depop soda. It's
yeah,
like the new brand of soda, pop soda. Um, if it is the Depop soda, it does push us closer to like a Hunger Games scenario where the um the districts have a lot fewer residents,
hmm
and those people left in those districts could be. I mean, I'm not telling anybody to panic. I'm just saying they could be us. You know.
it's it. I'm probably 90% there in agreement with that because
I mean, I don't want to believe that. I really
no,
don't.
I know. We're getting our tinfoil hats on right now, but
Yeah.
it's I mean it's interesting to kind of analyze that because at this point, like even just like I self-reflect on this every day. Like I feel like everything that we've known our whole entire lives has been a complete lie. And
In a way, yeah. In a way,
we
yeah.
we see that more and more each day. And it's not hard. Like you can't deny it. Um yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm having still a hard time with um trying to have somewhat of a normal conversation with somebody that not necessarily family for the majority. My family is pretty woke to all of this, thank God.
Well,
Thank
that's
God, thank the Lord. Um, but I have, unfortunately, a handful of friends that they just believe it, and I can't have a conversation with them. They don't. It's like they just shrug it off. They don't. They have nothing else to say, and it's
yeah,
happened with a few family members on my husband's side, but it's just like it kind of goes with your notes that you made of like how do you navigate that with people And I don't have an answer anymore because I haven't had any luck. Like I've tried every single tactic, every single type of way to introduce the topic, without even name calling. Like name calling is the last thing that I want to do. Like I don't even like using the term sheep or sheeple
Yeah,
because that tends to, throw people off. But
yeah. It's not really helpful.
no,
I mean, you can try to reason with people. Oh, shit.
it's
You
like
can try to people,
what's
but then
reasoning?
you reason with them all day long, and then they go get their shot,
Yeah.
and you're like, why did you do that after all that information I gave? This happened to me.
Mm.
Gave you all that information, and you still went and got inoculated. Okay, don't go get your second shot. That's the one that's going to get you. Now that guy is like in the hospital or something. It's
I
it's
I saw
it's
something. A few articles actually stating that there's a lot of Americans that are not going for their second dose.
it's like 8%.
8%.
8% of the people who get their first are not coming back for their second. That's encouraging. I wish it was like double that. I wish it was like 25%. I wish it was like 50%.
Right, right. It
But
could go up. It could go up.
yeah,
But I
it's
think
I think we're at like 29% right now. Allegedly have received one shot.
okay.
So
I mean, it's I would say that's a good portion of the population. Here
yeah,
it's like I think here it's like a little over 9 million.
it's millions of people. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just like it is a not that not that I'm advocating for it, but it's a joke. Um, but it's yeah, I don't know. It's a hard topic, and I get it. I get that asked a lot, and I don't really know how to answer it for people. It's just got to continue doing what we're doing and hope that it sticks, right? So,
yeah. Can you tell I'm sweating right now? It's like actually hot here.
is it?
It's
No,
like
not really.
it's actually hot in South Carolina right now. It's 78 degrees. It's like it's not been that warm at night like this whole year, and it's actually like hot in South Carolina right now.
So I'm gonna be a little Canadian right now, and I have to convert that to Celsius. So okay, 25. Okay, so 25 Celsius. All right, that makes sense.
Like I'm actually legitimately sweating right now. This is the first time like this whole entire spring I've actually sweated.
It was a warmer earlier today, but I
Well, it's
think
South it's South Carolina actually, buddy.
yeah, yeah, Pam. He's in South Carolina.
Oh, that's Pam. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Pam.
a little
Um,
different than SoCal.
Azte, okay, send me what you want to send. I'll be baffled. Maybe send it to Daniel too.
Yeah, yeah. Send me
Um,
stuff like for real. Send me information. I'm a researcher. I research a lot of this stuff.
I can tell. I can
Yeah.
tell. So,
But we've been
um,
on an hour and a half, so we
yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah. If
we've
you
had
need to jump off, feel free to.
we've
So,
had some we've had some good talk here though.
I honestly think we did. I honestly think we did. This has probably been like I said, the most prepared I've been with, like info and stats and all that to kind of put context to everything. Um, but even just talking to somebody not in the country, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of, I don't know, the pattern that I'm seeing between Canada and the United States is that there seems to be more people in the United States that are fighting back more.
Yep.
In Canada, unfortunately, I'm only really seeing it in Ontario and Quebec because that's where most of the restrictions are. But then we also have the idiots that just say, just listen.
Oh
So
yeah, they're out there. They are definitely out there. Actually, I offended my wife's sister with one of my live streams. It's hilarious because I didn't mean it for her at all, but she went and watched it. And I'm listening to this song from a musician called that I met at an event I went to, and I thought he has a song called Mask of the Beast. And
mm,
I play it in this live stream, and I'm like getting out to it, and one of the lyrics in that song is everyone has gone totally retarded. And I'm like, I had it in my stream. I think she went and watched that specific stream and got offended. It was hilarious.
People are so easily triggered over everything now.
But that
It's
song, everyone, those lyrics, everyone has gone totally retarded. It
yeah,
spoke to me on a deep level,
yep,
and
yep.
I had to include it in one of my live streams. Not intended for you, person I'm referring to,
No, for
but thankful for getting offended, buddy.
can you send me that song?
I
Is
will,
there,
yeah.
yeah, I want to listen to it.
When we get off of here, do you have Spotify or?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
Spotify. I have Spotify.
I'll
Yeah.
send it to you. I'll send you the Spotify link for it.
Okay, that
He's
sounds
cool.
good.
He's
Yeah.
really cool. The guy who wrote it, I met him at a flat Earth like party that we had. It was pretty fun. There was like, he's from Oregon, right? And he had like this. Okay, so his story is actually really cool. He's like the coolest guy you'll meet. His son was playing in a baseball league out in Oregon, and Oregon's like left coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said he had to wear a mask to coach his son's baseball league. He pulled his son out of his baseball league. This is like a feel-good story. Rounded up a bunch of the other dads from this baseball league and started their own competing league, mask-free.
Wow.
I love stories like that.
Wow.
Like instead of like just going along with the flow, if you can just pull out, even in a climate like Oregon,
Yeah.
where it's like mostly lefty people, like a majority lefty people. In Oregon, they're talking about, oh, we're never going to stop wearing masks. We're just gonna, like, this is just our life from now on. We love it. Like, we love being behind masks. Oh, we're fully
Oh my God.
double, triple, quadruple shotted. Like, oh, we're still going to wear our. But yeah, in Oregon, this dude, he pulled his son out of Little League and inspired enough dads to join him and have a mask-free league. I thought
Oh
that
my
was
God.
great. But I'll send you his Spotify when we get off.
Yeah, please do. But that's what it takes, right?
Song. You'll like that song. You might have to listen, or you'll probably like it the first time you hear it. I loved it the first time I heard it.
I'm sure I will. Like honestly, any song that gets put out right now, which is at least very rare, that is kind of, about what's going on. Like I want to hear it because
Another one from another guy. He's from the UK, but he calls himself the conspiracy music guru. And I don't know, his voice, he can do country and he can also do like more folk sounding. But lately he's been doing like hard rock, and he wrote a song. He calls it Television News Believer. I'll send you that one too.
yeah,
But
please do.
he did it with a music video, and his voice is so much like Metallica. It's crazy, but
Oh, really?
yeah, I don't know if you're into
Okay.
that style, but yeah, I'll send
Yeah,
you his too.
I actually am, believe it or not. So
Awesome. But
I
you'll
can send
love.
you one. I can send you a song that was done from two artists here up in the GTA. It's about like calling out all the fathers. So that's been like a main. I'm sure it's probably a main theme there too in the States, where for some reason it's been mostly women that
No,
has been speaking out.
I've noticed that, and it's really remarkable. Like so
Yeah,
many people that I connect to that are activists right now, they're women, and I mean, I
yeah.
admire you guys. I really do, because it's almost like you guys. We've almost left you guys to lead the charge, and I mean, it's disappointing. It's disappointing a little bit, but I'm really like, I gotta give it to you guys. Yeah, you're killing it.
I think so. I think a lot of us females
The
are.
ladies are killing it. Like
Yeah,
you guys leading the charge. Like it's amazing. Like
yeah. Except we're trying to get some help. We're trying to get some backup from,
I'm trying to help you
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. And I think there's slowly more and more men that are kind of using their platform to speak up.
Yeah.
But it's like the theme. I don't know why. It's just weird. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe women just have, I guess especially because it involves children.
if
Like
I have
I'm not a mother, but
Yeah, I have a theory. Since it's involved with depopulation, right? And also sterilization. I believe a lot of this has
Yes.
to do with sterilization.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You like women are gonna get a sense for that
Yeah.
because it's you guys are the vessels of like creating new life, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you guys are going to like the women are gonna feel it. This is just my thought.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel it on like a base level. Maybe that it's gonna take us longer to figure out what's going on,
Yeah.
but like your spirit is already in tune to it.
Yeah.
That's been my thought,
Yeah.
and that's why you guys have been you've been so active.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I think you're absolutely right. So, um, we're just not gonna stop. So, and you know, you don't either. So,
oh, I'm not going anywhere. Like
good.
they kill me. They're gonna have to kill me before they put this shot in me.
Yeah. Yeah. Likewise. Likewise. They'll have to do the same with me. Likewise. This has been an amazing chat, Daniel,
Thank
honestly.
thank you.
Um, any new news that pops up down there, feel free to send it my way, and I'm sure I will too. Um, and
If
anytime you want to do this again, just let me know and we'll organize it. So, but it was just good to chat with you.
we'll schedule it and we'll have look there's so much stuff we can talk about here.
Yeah.
Like literally like we could have a show like you could basically do a show once a week and never run out of topics.
Oh, never, never. There's a lot of stupidity, so that we can continue talking about.
But thank you everybody who watched tonight and the
Yeah.
people that stuck around this long.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. This will be saved. I'm gonna save it. So if you guys
Perfect.
want to rewatch it, you can.
I may
Uh,
I may rip it off and put it on my YouTube channel
go
if I
for it. Go for it.
if I
Yeah.
can because I need to get more content on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. Go for it.
But yeah,
Yeah. No problem.
I can share that with you too if you want. But
Yeah. Definitely. I like getting stuff sent to me. So
yeah.
flood my DMs, man. It's all good.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Well,
Take
good
care.
night.
I'll talk to you soon, Daniel. Thanks again.
Good night, Canada. Good night.
Good night, fellow Americans.
See.
Take care.